And good morning, everybody, and welcome to the most important conversations, meditations. We guide these meditations Monday through Friday, and the overarching theme of our meditations is liberation. Before each meditation, there's a short talk, and the content of that talk is derived from our source and core curriculum and program at the most important conversations called Whole Life Architecture. Whole Life Architecture is a live interactive forum that is weekly, where participants work together, collaborate together to learn, to share their journey, hold each other accountable, to create a life by design, as opposed to merely tolerating their life by default. If you'd like more information, you can go to tmicglobal.com and check out Whole Life Architecture. This morning, I'd like to share briefly, before we get into our guided meditation, from a place that is encouraging us to come back to earth. This is a saying that we often say when we're telling people to get real, to be realistic, to be rational, to get out of their head, to get out of the dream state, to stop fantasizing or imagining. We say, come back to earth. And I would like to encourage us to come back to earth this morning, but not from the perspective of becoming more rational. One of the distinctions inside of whole life architecture that we say is you have to lose your mind to find your soul. Get out of your head. When I say come back to earth, I'm inviting us to come back to our naturalness, to reconnect to what it means to be human, and to get out of this conditioned narrative we've all been taught to believe in, that we are somehow not nature, above nature, superhuman. You don't need to be superhuman, because being human is super enough. When you understand the profundity of your capacity as a creator, all that's needed for you to thrive is to come back to earth, come back to your naturalness, to reconnect to your heart and to bring it online, and to share using your voice from your heart. If you look around society today, I'm sure you will agree, we are seeing the fruit or the manifestation or the symptoms of a highly traumatized, very heart disconnected, left brain heady society. We have lost our way. Whether it is the increasing violence, the increasing mental illness, the increasing physical illness and manifestations of disease, the isolation, the lack of connectedness and sense of community. We live in a technocracy, not a democracy. We're ruled at the moment by technological overlords who have created machines that vie for our attention day and night, 24/7, that capture our data, that sell it to the highest bidder, so that they too can create algorithms that feed the addiction proclivities of all of our brains. All of us are addicts. And that's not a bad thing. It's the way the brain is. Put another way, addiction is just reinforced behavior. And all of us are addicts. All of us have brains that want to habituate and reinforce behavior, and we want to do it around the things where we get the biggest pleasure payoff in our brains. What makes us all addicts is that we all have a neurochemical addiction-making pleasure payoff machine in our head, and it's called our brain. It feeds us dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and these things are triggered by our environment. This is why Buckminster Fuller says, environment is more powerful than willpower, because the environment triggers the neurochemical addiction mechanism of the brain, and your willpower is feeble and useless against it. This is why self-help will never work. You cannot help yourself. Nobody can. Because environment is more powerful than willpower. The only way to transform ourselves is in creative collaboration together, is in working together, is in holding each other up. And before that work can even happen, we need to unplug ourselves from the technocracy, from the machines that are now the environment and the conditions in which we are swimming. These algorithms through social media, through general just internet e-commerce, and now with artificial intelligence. It's time to come back to Earth. Time to reconnect to our heart. Time to no longer let the left brain be the CEO of our life, and instead to turn back on our right brain, which we as a society have conditioned us all to shut off. Our right brain is the emotional center, it's the creative center. And these two areas, all important, critical areas for helping us navigate life, have been systematically unconditioned and reinforced to be ignored over many decades. You think of little children who want to imagine and play and create. And as soon as they enter school, year by year, we're taught, get in line, follow the rules, don't color outside the lines, don't think outside the box, don't be what you naturally are, a creator. Get out of your head and all those fantasies. Stop imagining. Be realistic. Be rational. And you even hear people today who are starting to wake up and realize that this system which all of us have been born into. And the system in its current state has existed since roughly World War II. Many of us today are starting to wake up and we're saying things like, well, I followed the rules. So how come I'm not able to retire? I followed the rules. How come I'm not being rewarded? Stop following the rules. Start beating or marching to the beat of your own drum. Reconnect to your heart. Reconnect to your naturalness. Come back to earth. Or as it's popular to say in Gen Z circles these days, touch grass. As you think about the new year that we're headed towards, or even this holiday season, it's not enough to just have nice thoughts. We have to build new habits. We have to build new creative conditions that are of our own creation. What can you do to begin to come back to earth? Going offline? Not absolutely. It's the way we connect today. It's important. But it can be highly, highly moderated. Bringing intentionality to why you are going online, what you are there to do, and when it's time to be offline. Taking on new practices that maybe you do online right now, but you can take offline and do them in another way. For example, a few years ago, I decided to buy a record player and to start buying records for when I want to listen to music as opposed to listening to music on Spotify or Apple Music or any of the other streaming platforms. This was one small way that when I wanted to listen to music, I decided I could come back to earth. I could be present and intentional in the moment. That music was a powerful enough creative force in my life, a critical force in my life, that I wanted to honor it with intent by being intentional and focused when I was listening to it, and not just have it playing randomized songs driven by an artificial intelligence engine on a platform in the background as like background music. I wanted to be focused. I wanted it to be the main event again. I wanted to have music be the thing that it was always supposed to be, a thing to awaken and enliven my soul. What can you do to come back to earth? And when we talk about coming back to earth, and this is something that we talk about in whole life architecture, the core crux of it is how we relate to time. You know, I enjoy Spotify because it saves me time. There's just playlists that are made for me, so I can just push play and forget about it and do other things. But what I realized is that multitasking my life away is what was driving my nervous system into the ground. That there's something about bringing presence and intentionality to each action, slowing down, not needing things to be fast, not needing to rush, not needing to be efficient and multitask, because that's our conditioning. Get more done in less time. Everyone's always asking, how long will it take? Will it be done by this time? Come back to earth. We don't control time. We are in time's grip. You can't make quality happen faster. Another example is years ago, I used to have one of these coffee pod machines. Why? It saved time. In less than 30 seconds, I could have a cup of coffee. To do that, I needed to go through hundreds and hundreds of coffee pods a year, plastic pods that got thrown into landfills. Not to mention the billions of particles of microplastics that were in my coffee. As they say, there's no free lunch. If you're not willing to slow down, if you're not willing to come back to earth, if you're not willing to connect to your naturalness, there will be ramifications on your health, on your wellness. And so I chose to buy a very high quality French press. And it now takes me 20 minutes to make a cup of coffee. But it's organic, it's not filled with microparticles, and most importantly, it reorients my relationship to time. During that 20 minutes, while I'm waiting for water to boil and for the coffee to steep, I read. I read a book, a physical book. Another thing I've started doing in the last 7 or 8 years is no longer buying digital books and instead going back to physical books, because 25% of our brain is connected to our hands. There's something organic and natural about holding an actual book, flipping its pages, having that kinetic contact with something real and natural, paper. What about journaling? Do you handwrite in a journal, or do you voice memo yourself? All of these things are efficient and save time, but at what cost to your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health? It's time to come back to earth. And the invitation is for you over this holiday season to begin thinking of the things in your life that you love and do because they save so much time, but how they are also disconnecting you from yourself, disconnecting you from others, disconnecting you from your heart, from your naturalness. The invitation as we move into our guided meditation this morning is for you to liberate yourself from your conditioning. Consider joining us at Whole Life Architecture to do the work of how that's done, and to reconnect to yourself authentically. Make 2026 the year where you bring your heart back online. You reconnect to your emotions. You reconnect to your creative naturalness. You are a creator. You come back to earth. Leave the technocracy. That doesn't mean don't use a computer anymore or a phone, but it means extricate yourself from the grips of a society that has gone mad. Only you can make that choice. I'd like to invite Mignon now to join us this morning for our neurosculpting meditation.
Okay. Thank you, Chad, and welcome everyone. In today's neural sculpting meditation, we will continue to take a look at creative possibilities. And along the journey, I'll be offering cues, toggles, and creative imagery. So you might hear me spell out words or dial up or down or invite playful or even bizarre imaginings, all intentionally designed to guide your experience using the 5-step neural sculpting meditation process. And this process helps to calm the nervous system and primes the brain for creating supportive ideas, giving you agency in how you move through life. And with a regular practice, the meditation can be supportive in helping to reinforce desired outcomes and create lasting shifts over time. I hope it serves you in a good way. Let's take this time to go on a meditation journey for the next 20 minutes or so. To begin, I invite you to orient to the space around you in this moment, to notice the structure beneath you, supporting your body. That might be the couch, a cushion, the ground, and orienting to the space around you, including what's in front of you. That might be a wall, it might be something else. And orient to what's behind you and maybe what is above. And as you are getting acquainted with your body in this space of this location, you can let your mind go wherever it needs to go because your breath is keeping you right here. You might notice the rhythm of your natural inhale and exhale. As you're noticing the flow of your breath, where do you notice it most? Maybe it is the movement through your nose. You might notice it in your throat. Or maybe you're noticing the belly and the lungs rise on the inhale and release on the exhale. Maybe you imagine that your breath can smooth itself out, expanding your body on the inhale and relaxing on the exhale as it empties effortlessly. You might choose to follow the next exhale, imagining it to disperse out of your nose and mouth, filling up the room around you. This is your breath breathing in and out, consistent, comfortable, supportive. Your deepening breath can invite the body to let go of any tension or gripping in the muscles, finding their way to relaxation and comfort. You might want to drop your shoulders and give your neck a gentle stretch or roll out your wrists and ankles. this one and only moment, your body has comfort available to it. Comfort of your breath, maybe comfort of the temperature of the room, maybe comfort of the cushion or chair supporting you. Your most basic needs are happening in all moments. And as all of this keeps supporting you from moment to moment, you are reminded that your creative mind can go wherever you'd like it to go. What if you imagined trees and plants could move themselves? Forests were like wandering groves. Trees might migrate together like herds. Would pine trees move up and down mountain sides depending on the season? What if you stepped outside to discover the tree out front had moved to the yard next door? How wild would that be? Or maybe it's more fun to imagine that clothing could automatically alter just for you with smart threads that would instantly map the contours of your body when you put it on, causing the fabric to hem and taper for a flawless fit. What does your mind imagine? And with your creative mind able to go where it wants, while your body remains comfortable and breathing, you might find extra comfort knowing that you are the author of this meditation. A meditation to explore the unknown of future space and time, possibilities. If you could bring your awareness to an idea in your life where you might be a little uncertain, perhaps the answers are yet to come. Maybe there is a problem to be solved or dreams to be realized. What comes to mind? And because your creative mind is able, you get to write the narrative of this future story. And if you were to give yourself permission to visualize and create the space of possibility, a scenario for this space and time, what does your mind visualize spontaneously? Where does your creative mind go? This is an opportunity to play in your wildest dreams, maybe of abundance or LOVE, or a lifelong dream near and dear to your heart, or maybe something altogether different. And because this is your story and your creative mind can go anywhere it wants while your breath is breathing and your body is supported, what do you imagine if you give yourself permission to create the space of wonderful possibilities? And if you could imagine a sound or vibration with this possibility, what do you hear? Maybe applause, maybe a favorite tune is playing, or something else. Maybe even the sound of silence. And if you could imagine a dial, maybe it's a fancy radio dial or some other kind of knob, and it has 1 to 10. What is the perfect level of the sound if you imagined any at all? Is it bold and resonant at a level 10? Or would dial down to a whisper at 2 be better for you? And because your breath is breathing itself and your creative mind is awakened, maybe you imagine in your mind's eye a color or colors that stand out and represent this visualization. Maybe warm sunset hues, or perhaps cool colors like blues. And maybe there are textures, soft and smooth or bubbly. What does your creative mind notice? Now, what if you could take this color, the sound, vibrations, textures, the visualization, and put it in your body? Would you put it in your hands or in your heart or in your eyes so you can see the world through it? Or maybe you imagine putting it somewhere else. Where does it work for you? Maybe it's an entire embodiment. And how does your mind imagine it? What things do you notice? Does a calm, cool, or warmth expand? Or do you feel comfortably anchored as you embrace the possibilities, if anything at all? Maybe there's a brightness to your inner landscape, or is it something different for you? And remembering that your body listens to your narrative, so too your body is listening to the way you relate to this wonderful possibility and the tones and colors. You might even notice a sensation. Where is your body most responsive to this experience? Maybe your being experiences a pulse that moves through your body. Maybe that's a smile on your face or a flutter in your heart, or it might be entirely different for you. It might be nothing at all. This is how your body is relating and associating, and you get to remember that, marking it in your body's memory with a simple hand gesture or placement of your non dominant hand. And each and every breath can integrate this experience more and more until it becomes familiar, widespread inside of you. Integrate it. There might be a word that can also activate this experience for you, a word that you can say or write or hear or read that will remind you of your potential and possibility. What's your word? And because your body listens so well to your mind, your body may remember this future story each time you say your word or make your hand gesture. And just as your breath breathes itself, even when you're not noticing it, so too this vibration can expand even when you're not noticing it. You are invited to continue exploring this possibility, allowing this visualization to become more and more real in your inner landscape. Even as you begin to notice the sounds around you, as you slowly bring your awareness to the space you are in, allowing yourself to gently come back, ending your meditation. Thank you all for joining us today. I encourage you to take a few moments to journal about your experience. I invite you to join us again for our weekly meditations. We meet each Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific. Have a wonderful day and be well.